over the weekend, a lot of different incidents of violence happening in a range of different cities. So in Rochester, there was a particularly weird incident in which people attacked an outdoor restaurant. And you can see that the race of the people who are attacking the outdoor restaurant is not, it's largely white people. Because this is dispossessed white people who are looking for a reason to be angry about their lives. And so here's some tape from Rochester where a restaurant was basically overrun. Carrying Black Lives Matter flags, and these tables are systemically racist, guys. You gotta knock over some chairs, gotta knock over some glasses, wreck the outdoor restaurant in Rochester in the name of systemic injustice. Yeah, toss some chairs. You know, really go for it. That heat lamp right there seems systemically racist. Knock that sucker right over. Really good stuff. A lot of pissed off white people looking to wreck a restaurant. This is all this is good for America. And I feel like the Biden-Harris campaign is going to rein it in by praising people who commit acts of disgusting crime and then are shot in the process of resisting police. That seems like that'll probably heal things. In D.C., protesters were blocking reporters, so that's always good news. We've been told, by the way, these same reporters who try and cover for the protesters and pretend they're nice people, again, a bunch of white people who have decided to glom onto the movement and do the hard work, according to Robin DiAngelo. According to Frederick Kunkel of the Washington Post, quote, protesters are now blocking media from filming their demonstration, shining light into a reporter's face, blocking shots with fans' umbrellas, and following like, quote unquote, minders. So good times over in Washington, D.C. Over in Portland, we had an instance in which people were throwing Molotov cocktails at the cops, and one of the protesters who was standing in front of the cops was hit by the Molotov cocktail, leading to him being set on fire, and then ironically having to be put out by the very police officers he was protesting. So the cops were systemically evil, had to put out this man who was on fire. He was standing in the middle of the street protesting the police, and yeah, that's some video right there. They're trying to put him out. I mean, that's, you know, if you go out protesting the police and you get set on fire by a Molotov cocktail thrown by one of the members of your own side, and then the police have to come and save you because your idiot friends are trying to put out a fire with a trash can, as opposed to, you know, an actual fire extinguisher where the cops show up and try to help you. Yeah, well done, everybody. That really solid stuff. Meanwhile, Molotov cocktails were found by the Seattle PD. So the Seattle, they had an instance of somebody throwing Molotov cocktails at the cops last night. Seattle PD released an image of people carrying around Molotov cocktails. Probably the most evocative imagery was not even a man being set on fire by a Molotov cocktail thrown by presumed Antifa members. It was these Pittsburgh protests. In Pittsburgh, there were protests where people went to an outdoor restaurant and again decided that this is a good look. It's always a good look when you're trying to just harass random people who are out dining for the evening. They went to some sort of outdoor restaurant, and some lady decides that she is entitled to somebody else's beer. So she literally just walks up to the table where people are just eating outdoors and then grabs the beer. There's a black woman walking up to this elderly white couple, just walks up and starts drinking the lady's beer. She's wearing a shirt that says Nazi lives don't matter, which the irony of modern day fascists walking up to other people and just taking their stuff and seizing it in the name of racial justice. Pretty incredible stuff right there. The great irony, of course, is that the elderly couple has COVID. So sad for that lady. Sad for that lady. So all of this is making the country a better place. And this is why when you hear Biden-Harris, they're going to calm the tensions, they're going to calm the tensions. The only way that Democrats calm these kind of tensions is by suggesting to the protesters that they are going to do what they want. Right? They're going to calm the tensions in the same way that anybody who caves to arsonists and terrorists calms tensions. They cave to them. Right? If you appease them, then presumably they will get a little bit calmer. The only problem is that you are now making it so that the math works, that every time they decide to get violent, you're going to do more work on their behalf. I don't think that the American people are particularly into being blackmailed, especially not by the wonderful people who are engaged in this sort of blackmail in the first place. There's an amazing story of a wealthy college student who was arrested over the weekend for engaging in rioting. This is in New York City. Her name is Clara Kraber. She was among those arrested after a vandalism spree on Friday in the Flatiron District, where demonstrators were protesting in favor of BLM. They did $100,000 worth of damage to businesses in Manhattan. So apparently she has now been charged. She was arrested. Who is she? Well, she was arrested at her family's second home. She's an undergrad at Rice University. Her father is a psychiatrist who teaches at Columbia University Department of Psychiatry. So we are now living out Philip Roth's American Pastoral. Her mother is an architect at a prestigious Manhattan firm. The family in 2016 purchased a $1.8 million apartment on the Upper East Side. They also own a home with 4 fireplaces in Connecticut. One law enforcement source told the Post, "I wonder how her rich parents feel about their daughter. How would they feel if they graffitied their townhouse? This girl should be the poster child for white privilege, growing up on the Upper East Side and another home in Connecticut. This is the height of hypocrisy." But of course, it isn't the height of hypocrisy if you engage in a movement that says that America is systemically racist and that is basically the fault of white people. And the only way that white people can alleviate their historic systemic racism is by leading the way in creating change. And the way that change is created is by overthrowing all systems. So of course, she's rebelling against exactly the systems that made her parents wealthy, because those systems are racist. She is doing something virtuous. See, she's even leaving behind her own wealth. She was arrested at her family's second home, by the way. So all very, very good stuff. Facts don't care about your feelings, and it's a fact that The Ben Shapiro Show is the largest conservative podcast in the nation. Be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date on all of our content.